real estate expert, Jamie Meloni.
Hi again, everybody, and welcome to the Jamie Meloni Real Estate Show here on 1250 Wins WHNZ. You'll find my show on every Mondays at noon, so I invite you to please tune in as my show aims to become your information source for the Tampa Bay real estate market. Got a great show planned for you guys today in studio. I've got co-host Sella Giudicelli with us today. And on the first half of the show, we're going to have Garry Simpson, owner of Simpson Air. We're going to be talking all about HVAC systems. And on the second part of the show, we got real estate broker Scott Humphreys of Coldwell Banker in to talk about the benefits of Coldwell Banker and some of the some great tips about real estate in the Tampa Bay region right now. Off air, you can find me at my websites, tampabayradio.com, and I offer all the home sellers out there in the marketplace a free home valuation if they text the word value to my cell phone, 813-760-8516. Again, text the word value, 813-760-8516. So in studio, I want to go ahead and lead off with my first guest. Garry Simpson is a 30-plus year heating and air conditioning veteran with a background and experience that has helped build one of the truly innovative air conditioning companies serving the greater Tampa Bay area. Garry applies his knowledge and experience throughout the company and helps to ensure that the Simpson field techs and installers are the very best in the business. Garry, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
Thank you for coming in. Garry, 30 years in the business has undoubtedly given you experiences and knowledge that many in the business probably cannot match. Explain to the audience a little bit more about your background in this business.
Well, I started at 17 years old. All of my adult life has basically been in the business. I started out as an apprentice for various different companies and then became a subcontractor doing ductwork installation for the majority of that time, or half of it anyway. And it gave me an understanding of installation, of being from the ground up all the way through sales and then becoming an owner.
Interesting. Now, I mean, you started back, 1975 or something?
Right out of high school, yes, sir.
Interesting. I mean, how have HVAC systems changed from when you started in 1975 to how they are designed now?
Well, they were a little less complicated back then. The SEER rating wasn't a big deal. The SEER rating is an energy efficiency
I hear a lot about
ratio.
that. Explain what a SEER rating is. Here, SEER 13 or something, right?
Well, that's a minimum government standard.
Okay.
Now,
What does SEER stand for? That's SEER. What is that?
it's a seasonal energy efficiency ratio that grades the miles per gallon, if you would, on the electricity usage of an air conditioning system. The higher that SEER rating, the more efficient and the more expensive that system is.
Okay. And right now we're using SEER 13, right? That's the industry standard, right?
That's correct, and they want it to go up from 13 to 14 and on up from there.
And what other differences do you see in the HVAC systems of today? You say efficiency is a big difference. They last a lot longer than what they did in the past, or have costs come down or gone up versus the older systems?
Well, everything's gone up in price, and there's no question about that. But what's changed in the air conditioners is the technology. Mm-hmm. They're less forgiving now. They require a lot of airflow. They're high tech. They're not just components, peanut relays, things like that. They're actually very sophisticated with modules and boards and two-speed and variable speed and just so many things now that you have to be aware of. And having that earlier knowledge allows me to not only understand the system. It's not just an air conditioner. It's a complete system. The ductwork, everything has to work.
I know I had a friend in the past that was studying to get his HVAC license, and there was a whole manual on what to know, and it was quite impressive. It's almost like, you're going to some type of engineering, project here to understand what an HVAC system is doing. And so, yeah, there's a lot to know, and a lot of people think they know how that HVAC system works, but there's so many components to that they just don't understand.
Well, it's not like your typical college education where you go out there and you learn how to do whatever you do. Air conditioning is, I think, a lot of people can do it. There's a lot of retailers out there that call themselves AC contractors, but I think personally that having that knowledge of installation and understanding how the system actually works and having that experience over the years has allowed us at Simpson Mechanical or Simpson Air to do it right, do a better job, because we understand that airflow and what that system needs to work properly. Now,
Garry, you founded Simpson Air in 1999, and now you're a leading area AC company. What are some of the values and ideals that you and your company stand upon?
Well, I really want to say honesty, integrity, and all those things but I think that should come with any company that's out there doing.
Well, you wouldn't be around, that long without.
Well, no
those
one
values.
should be. They should all have those basic interests. But What we do is we're trying to let all the customers out there know that do business with us that we're service and repair experts. We're not just going to come out there and change your air conditioner out because it's got a bad contactor. We're going to come out there and look over the system, determine what's actually going on there, and it could be an airflow issue, it could be a maintenance issue. You don't need a new system every time you have a problem with it, but those are the things we do. Plus, we hire good people and duplicate what we know in our knowledge and teach those guys how to do it right and how to understand the system from the beginning.
Now, how large is your company now?
We're about 43 people strong, including myself and my wife Paige. We both run the business day to day. We're out there every day talking to the service department, talking to the installers, talking to the different entities. We're there every day.
Interesting. Now, what are some of the challenges from when you started the company in 1999 that you faced to today? What are some of the things that you've had to work through?
Well, we started out as a new construction company, just doing new homes, putting air conditioning and ductwork in those. That went along pretty good until, as we all know, went through a small recession there. And about 2004, right before that, we had so many customers from the new construction market that we turned those into retail customers and started doing service on their machines and started actually becoming a retrofit change-out specialist and built our service department. Prior to that, we didn't have much of that. We were just doing installs. It was so busy. But then the recession took over and things went down, building stopped, and had we not started doing that, we wouldn't be the company we are today because we were able to move into that retail marketplace. And there's one thing about Simpson Air too. We specialize in residential new construction and retail retrofit. We don't do commercial. We don't do chiller work. We don't do a lot of those things that a lot of companies want to be a little bit of everything to everyone. We specialize in what we do, and that's residential.
Right, and you had mentioned, that the downturn in the market in 2006 and 7, impacted your business, but you're seeing a rebound in new housing developments, right? So, and you're specializing in new construction and everything. So you're definitely seeing a rebound. Would you not say?
Well, we're doing what we've always done, which is new construction, and we've now done, moved more into the retail side of the business. But we're all about comfort, quality, and value. That's what we are. We're a true AC contractor.
And what are the areas that you cover and time frames you offer in terms of service? I mean, do you have like 24-hour emergency service, 1-hour emergency service? How's your company set up?
That's a really tough question because you can answer it many different ways. But I tell you, to be honest with you, we want to service up till about 9 o'clock at night. My techs are tired by then. Doesn't matter how many you have. We have 8, but by 9 o'clock at night, we try to call the customer back and troubleshoot them over the phone. We have very specific questions that we ask that they can do to get through the night. But by the time I get to your house at 1 o'clock in the morning and stay up that late and the unit's frozen over, when I get there I can't thaw it out for 3 hours, we just set you up for first call in the morning, and you're our first call.
AC systems are one of those things, when they go out, you want somebody there immediately. I know I've called a few people in the past at 10, 11 o'clock at night, hunted around until I could find somebody to come out there. You just don't want to sleep in Florida, with this the humidity out there without any type of AC system running. If you're just tuning in, you've been listening to the Jamie Meloni Real Estate Show here on 1250 Wins WHNZ. Got to take a quick sponsor break, but stay tuned. We're going to have more with Garry Simpson here about how some of the stuff that you should be doing to maintain your AC system here coming upon the summer season. Please stay tuned.
Amy.
Hi again, everybody, and thanks for staying tuned in to the Jamie Meloni Real Estate Show here on 1250 Wins WHNZ. And again, you'll find my show on every Mondays at noon, so please tune in as my show aims to become your information source for the Tampa Bay real estate market. We've been talking with Garry Simpson, owner of Simpson Air, during the first part of the show, and I want to continue with him now. Gary, let's switch gears and talk more specifically about HVAC systems themselves. They're a very important component of homes in Florida and very costly component to replace when they fail. First, explain a little bit more about how the central HVAC system works and how heat pumps work along with them, because a lot of times the heat pump isn't included and you think that they are. How does all that tie together?
Jamie, how that works, it's HVAC, which is the heating and ventilation AC system in that home. Okay. And how it functions is it is a very tough system. They're built to last, and they do get sometimes 20 years. But there's some basic maintenance that needs to be done, and that's what we, as consumers, typically overlook. We drive our car, to and from work. It sits at work all day, and it comes home and sits in the garage all night. But our air conditioners, and they do 8,000, 12,000 mile oil changes, but an air conditioner runs 24/7, 365, and you forget about it because as long as it's comfortable, you tend to let it go and ignore it. But maintenance is something we really highly recommend, because that minimizes your failure, minimizes your breakdown, and minimizes your uncomfortableness.
No,
so what we offer is we recommend that customers put vinegar in their drain lines occasionally. There's typically a port in there by the air handler, which is the piece inside that moves the air, is to put vinegar in that drain line every 6 months or so to neutralize the stuff that clogs the drain up that causes failure. The filter is a very big problem because no air in, no air out kind of thing, and you need to change it, and you need to use a good filter. Sometimes the most inexpensive filter is the best one. So we recommend good filter changes. A lot of the filter manufacturers out there today offer a 3-month filter. Well, if a filter lasts 3 months, it'll typically, if it's a 1-inch filter, it's because your air conditioner's not running. It won't last that long. They coat up real quick. They catch every piece of dust every time you walk through your home. These filters trap whatever's moving that's airborne. And if that filter gets clogged, your unit shuts down. So changing the filter monthly is a good thing. And having that unit cleaned and serviced by a true AC tech or a serviceman, not a salesman, tends to add life to the machine, performance to the machine, keep your power bills low, and we stress that more than just about anything else.
Now, with some of the maintenance that you do, I mean, the keeping the coils clean, I mean, that's something that I know a lot of people try to do themselves. They go out there and spray the coils with a coil cleaner. How effective is just home, remedies versus, what you all do with a full service?
Well, the outdoor unit, we call it the condenser. Everyone tends to want to refer to it as the compressor, but it's a condensing unit. In both of those units, by the way, there's a piece inside your home and there's a piece outside. One's the condenser outside and the air handler's inside. Both have coils or radiators, and both of them move air. If they're restricted for some reason, they will not move as much air, so they won't transfer as much heat and remove that heat to allows you to cool or heat the home. So if you wash those annually or a couple times a year, whatever you decide to do, it keeps them breathing cleanly, keeps the air moving through them, and it allows that system and that refrigerant to do what it does, and that's move through the system and cool your house.
So in addition to treating the drain line with the vinegar and then the cleaning of the coils, what else do you do in an annual maintenance?
We check all the components and we measure all the voltages and resistance to the different ones and determine whether they're in range. And if they're not in range, we recommend you replace that part. Most of the systems today come with 10-year parts warranties. They don't always come with labor, but they come with parts, and we recommend at that time during the maintenance, before the failure, hopefully, that you change these parts. And if you do, you could really go through 10 years of service without ever having to replace parts or pay for them because they're done during the service. And
even if you didn't install the system, you can come out and do a maintenance on a system, see that a component needs replaced, and then you can contact the manufacturer and get that component replaced, correct?
Absolutely. We highly recommend, and that's why we like Carrier. They're proprietary to their parts and pieces, and we put those pieces back into the machine. We don't just put any aftermarket part in there, and that's the one thing that allows the system to work better, as well as putting the right part in there that came with the system.
Now, I think you're getting on to my next question there. You mentioned Carrier. I was going to say there's many HVA systems, on the marketplace. I mean, what is your preferred brand? Is it Carrier, and why do you prefer that brand?
Carrier would be our preferred brand because we first of all, Willis Carrier invented air conditioning back in 1907.
Interesting.
And so their technology and their leadership in the industry and their training, all that is paramount, in my opinion, to the other brands out there. They work well, they do what they say they're going to do, and they're innovative in technology. They bring to the table the variable speed. Matter of fact, they have the patent on the true variable speed. Carrier does, and with that said, that's that humidity control that everyone talks about that we like to offer to customers when they're buying a new system. But Carrier's the best because they just have the good support. They have service behind you. They're leaders in the industry, and we're leaders in the industry. So we partnered well together.
And you hear a lot about Trane. A lot of people seem to think that Trane is the industry leader. I mean, what's your opinion on Trane versus Carrier? Is there something that stands out against Trane over Carrier, or no?
I like all the brands out there, Jamie, but I like Carrier the most.
Carrier's your best one. Now, in reviewing your website, thecoolestguys.com, again, that's thecoolestguys.com, you talk about the importance of proper duct design. Elaborate more on this.
Well, again, that's from my installation background back early on. Didn't realize back then that was going to be so powerful. Didn't really realize that I would be in the business as long as I have, and things just somehow work out. But duct design is very important, and that's another thing we talk a lot about. These newer systems being as complicated and high-tech as they are, you just can't install an air conditioner of 2014 into a system that's 1980. And when you do that, you're asking for trouble, because a lot of companies out there will just put that system in, hook it up, it'll blow cold air, and they leave. At Simpson Air, we look at the duct design, and we determine that system is going to work on that on that new air conditioner because they're more high performance than the older duct systems, and we pay close attention to that. And I think that's part of the biggest reason a system lasts longer than shorter or has failure or doesn't have failure is the duct system.
Interesting stuff. Well, Gary, thank you very much for coming on the show. Learned a lot today about central air systems and everything. Real quick for the audience, please get out your contact information, how they get in touch with your company.
You can call the office at 813-558-0858. You can go to our website at www.simpsoncoolair.com.
Now, you also had thecoolestguys.com, right?
We are thecoolestguys.com.
So
There's several ways to get out to our website.
That's probably the easiest to remember, thecoolestguys.com.
The what? Thecoolestguys.com?
Thecoolestguys.com, absolutely. And what was the phone number one more time for the audience?
It's 813-558-0858.
Interesting. I highly recommend that people out there, take a look at their systems right now and coming up here on the summer season and get those things maintained. And, please reach out to Garry Simpson of Simpson Air. He'll definitely take care of you, and tell him the Jamie Meloni Real Estate Show sent you over, if you would, please. Gary, thanks very much for coming on.
Thank you for having me, Jamie.